Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026 0523. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin with a story that underscores the dual use power of frontier models. According to reporting by IT Security News, Anthropic's Controlled Cybersecurity Research Initiative, Project Glasswing used an unreleased model called Claude Mythos Preview to uncover more than 10,000 high and critical severity zero-day vulnerabilities in just its first month. Let that number sink in. Over 10,000 zero days. As part of Project Glasswing, Cloudflare's security team reportedly ran Claude Mythos Preview against more than 50 internal repositories. Observers reported that the model not only identified vulnerabilities autonomously at scale, but also chained multiple bugs together into working proof-of-concept exploits. In other words, this was not just static code analysis. The model demonstrated automated exploit construction. Anthropic has not released Claude Mythos Preview to the general public, citing its cyber attack capabilities. That decision alone speaks volumes about the capability profile of this system. From a technical perspective, this suggests that Claude Mythos Preview combines large-scale code understanding, program analysis, and multi-step reasoning in a way that meaningfully compresses the time between vulnerability discovery and weaponization. Traditionally, red teams and specialist researchers manually chain findings into viable attack paths. If a model can automate that workflow, the operational tempo of both defenders and attackers changes dramatically. For practitioners, this shifts the threat model for both open source and internal codebases. Faster discovery means shorter windows between vulnerability introduction and exploit availability. Expect heightened emphasis on rapid triage, prioritized patching, and closer monitoring of disclosure timelines. Also, watch whether Cloudflare or other Project Glasswing participants publish technical deep dives or reproducible methodologies. Transparency around these experiments will shape policy debates on access controls and safe deployment of high-capability code models. Next, we turn to a different but equally strategic development: OpenAI's preparations for recursive self-improvement. Business Insider reports that OpenAI has posted a high compensation role on its preparedness safety team to support preparations for what the job listing calls recursive self-improvement. The role reportedly offers between $295,000 and $445,000 in compensation and seeks what the listing describes as strong technical executors. According to Business Insider, OpenAI has set a goal of building AI systems that can research their own improvements. The article also cites researchers at Meta, who wrote in March that the length of tasks frontier models can complete has been doubling roughly every 7 months. If recursive self-improvement moves from theory to operational capability, it introduces a distinct class of safety and engineering challenges. Secure and auditable training pipelines become non-negotiable. Monitoring for distributional drift, adversarial optimization paths, and unintended capability amplification become central engineering work. For the talent market, these postings are signals. High compensation for safety roles indicates that preparedness and alignment infrastructure are no longer peripheral. They are core strategic investments. Watch for related preprints, external audits, or red team disclosures that clarify how OpenAI operationalizes safeguards around self-training systems. Now, shifting from lab preparedness to real-world adoption, Business Insider also reports that Anthropic's Claude Code has emerged as the de facto AI coding tool inside many startups. In a survey of more than 24 startup founders and venture capitalists, Claude Code was described as the default assistant for engineering teams. ChainGuard CEO Dan Lorink is quoted as saying, "Everything that's not Claude Code," suggesting a high degree of consolidation in early-stage tooling preferences. The article also notes venture capital flowing into AI coding startups, including Lovable, Replit, and Cursor. While the report does not provide benchmark data, industry patterns suggest that dominance in developer tooling often follows strengths in multi-file reasoning, context persistence, and autonomous workflow orchestration. If Claude Code is standardizing inside startups, that has second-order effects. CI/CD integrations, hiring expectations, code review processes, and even defect tracking workflows begin to assume AI co-authorship. For practitioners evaluating coding assistance, this is an adoption signal worth tracking. Independent benchmarks on unit test accuracy, multi-repo reasoning, and security outcomes will be critical in separating hype from measurable productivity gains. Our fourth top story takes us into national AI strategy. According to Antara, Indonesia's Ministry of Communication and Digital Affairs has articulated 3 pillars for its national AI policy: a regulatory framework balancing innovation and protection, world-class digital infrastructure, and inclusive digital talent development. Deputy Minister Nezar Patria stated that Indonesia is finalizing 2 key policy instruments: a national AI roadmap and a presidential regulation on AI ethics. On the infrastructure front, Microsoft has committed $1.7 billion to build cloud infrastructure in Indonesia. NVIDIA and Amazon have reaffirmed investment commitments. As of 2026, Indonesia has 185 data centers, totaling 274 megawatts of capacity, with a government target to exceed 2,000 megawatts by 2029. The talent gap is equally striking. The deputy minister cited a shortage of approximately 3 million digital talents. At the same time, projections suggest Indonesia's digital economy will exceed $100 billion in 2026 and could reach between $220 and $360 billion by 2030. For regional practitioners, hyperscaler investments combined with a formal AI roadmap and ethics regulation create clearer signals around data residency, compute availability, and governance requirements. The operative details in the forthcoming roadmap and presidential regulation will determine compliance burdens and procurement opportunities. Monitor publication timelines and concrete upskilling programs aimed at closing that 3 million person talent gap. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. The Economic Times CIO reports on what it calls the trust paradox in enterprise AI. Citing Deloitte's 2026 State of AI in the Enterprise report, which surveyed 3,235 leaders across 24 countries, 74% of companies expect to use AI agents at least moderately by 2027. Yet only 21% report having a mature governance model for autonomous agents today. The gap between analysis-only AI and state-changing, executional AI is emerging as a core operational fault line, with fragmented data and missing systems of truth driving failures more than model accuracy alone. Google Cloud has introduced cross-engine Apache Iceberg support in BigQuery, announced at the Apache Iceberg Summit. The update expands interoperability for Apache Iceberg tables within BigQuery, aligning with a broader industry push toward open table formats and multi-engine lakehouse workflows. In hardware news, Geeky Gadgets reports that Apple's M5 Max MacBook Pro, equipped with 128 gigabytes of unified RAM and 40 GPU cores, can run large models such as Llama 70B and Qwen 3.6 locally using quantization techniques like TurboQuant. The article cites throughput figures of up to 600 tokens per second and highlights tooling from Ollama and Hugging Face, reinforcing the trend towards serious on-device inference for development and prototyping. From the public sector, RNZ reports that senior officials from New Zealand's Internal Affairs Department and Government Digital Delivery Agency will attend a 2-day executive briefing at Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond. The agenda includes Government 3.0, the future of work, cybercrime, quantum innovation, and robotics. The visit comes amid signals that AI could help reduce public service headcount by over 10%, raising governance and explainability stakes. Finally, UPI reports that South Korea's Korea Institute for Defense Analyses and the National Information Society Agency have signed a memorandum of understanding to deepen cooperation on AI strategy. Plans include expanding KIDI's Defense Artificial Intelligence Policy Research Office into a proposed defense AI policy centralizing defense AI strategy, data planning, and verification as part of a broader ambition to become an AI G3 nation. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.